What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the February 26th, 2022 edition of Talking Smack. As always, being hosted by Matt Camp, Jackie Redmond, and their special guest for this week was Peter Rosenberg, joining them to talk all about SmackDown from Friday. So they started off the show by joking that Talking Smack is Roman Reigns' show, because Roman said at the end of the SmackDown show on Friday that these are my people, this is my ring, this is my show. And Talking Smack is apparently Roman Reigns' property as well, as it should be. Rosenberg agrees with the billing that Brock and Roman is the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. I really wish they would fucking stop doing that. I know this is WWE. They like to make things bigger than what they actually are. They like to put the content advertising machine behind it and say, oh, the publicity machine, and say, oh, biggest WrestleMania match of all time, biggest match of all time, blah, blah, blah. And, use those words to really get people talking and buzzing and blah, 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 blah. Just, it's like, Jesus Christ. But, I get why they do it. It is a unification match, we found out Friday. It is for both championships. It's the main event of one of the nights of WrestleMania. And it's probably the biggest match WWE can do currently. I don't think a lot of people would agree, though, that was bigger than Hogan and Andre or Rock and Austin, as they said on Friday. So I wish they would stop doing that, and Rosenberg agreeing with that and kind of going off of it doesn't help matters either. But anyway, he does say that Brock successfully got into Roman's head with what he said on SmackDown during the contract signing, but he does feel that Roman, as he always does, will be able to direct that energy toward WrestleMania and be back in the driver's seat for that match with Brock. Jackie recalls Roman calling Brock a farm boy, I believe, during that segment on Friday. I missed that, but whether it was then or another time, I guess that's what he called him at one point. She is excited for Brock and Roman nonetheless, as well as Brock's upcoming championship defense at the Madison Square Garden March 5th show, next Saturday, actually. They have yet to announce who he's going to be facing. They didn't even bother teasing Bobby Lashley here. They did on Raw, and I have no idea why. I know Bobby went in for shoulder surgery or a checkup on Monday, this past Monday. I mean, even if he is back for Mania, which I guess is a slight possibility, the initial timetable from what someone had said, a credible source had rumored that he would be out for 4 months. I had read today that Bobby's trying to get cleared before then. That's great and all. I don't think he's going to be cleared for fucking the MSG show. And even if he was, why would they put him right back in the ring with Brock Lesnar? So I'm not really sure who he's going to face. The fact that they're not yet announcing it, we're less than a week away from that house show, which won't be televised, I would assume, tells me it's probably going to be a Rollins, maybe AJ, someone not on Brock's level. And I like Rollins and AJ, but these are the same two guys that lost to Brock in fucking 10 seconds with an F5 at Elimination Chamber, so why should I take them seriously as a threat to Brock, Anyway, so backstage we hear from Megan Moran interviewing the Viking Raiders again, as she did a few weeks ago. Eric simply said they were looking forward to the Usos championship, or they were looking forward to facing the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, initially Elimination Chamber. They went all that way. Match didn't happen. And that's probably a shoot. I mean, they spoke in their dumb Viking voices here, but, him saying, we traveled halfway across the world to do nothing. It's probably a shoot, because it's true. They traveled all that way to not even have the match. But they are doing it next week on SmackDown. Ivar once again calls Megan Lady. He starts off as... I said this a few weeks ago, but he goes, Lady. It's they're really leaning the whole old school Viking shit, and it's not even, effective or entertaining. It's just stupid. I won't go too much into it here, but I've spoken because I've spoken about it before. It's just dumb. And the fact they've been doing it for 3 years on the main roster is just awful. I mean, it's crazy to think they've been doing this for that long, and you would think, well, why aren't they over? Well, that's why. No one gives a shit. Anyway, Ivar says nothing will stop them from winning those tag team titles from the Usos come next week on SmackDown, a match that Matt and Jackie then hype up for next week when they're done with that interview. They also recap Xia Li's debut match, beating Natalya on SmackDown on Friday, as well as replay the Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Sonya Deville segment. That's how Charlotte and Deville get one over on Rousey to set up Rousey and Deville for next week. We hear backstage from Sonya Deville. Real quickly, Megan just asks her, how do you go about preparing for a match with Ronda Rousey next week on SmackDown? The absolute dumbest WWE interviewer question that they ask, that they have the interviewers ask in WWE. I'm sure I absolutely have asked that question before in my interviews, but in kayfabe, it's like, why the fuck would they give you a strategy? I know that's what they're going for with that question in storyline. So also in storyline, why would the superstars answer that question accurately? Why would they give away their preparation process to their opponent? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. And she even said that preparation isn't a concern of hers, and even if it was, why would she tell Megan? And then she walks off, so that was pretty pointless. But they hype up Sonya and Ronda next week for SmackDown. Before a lot of replays on this episode of Talking Smack, more than usual to fill up the time. Probably because I guess there wasn't just a lot to talk about, I guess. But they replayed the New Day versus Los Lotharios match that was won by New Day. As well, again, another replay, a replay of the Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville segment that saw Knoxville come out, confront Sami beat him up. Sami being interviewed backstage. I don't know where Kayla Braxton is on the show. I have no idea where Kayla is. I assume she still works the bump and shit. I don't watch the bump, so I don't know, but I assume she still does that stuff. But I haven't seen her on Talking Smack in a backstage setting in a while. But Sami said that he sees no issue with beating up Johnny Knoxville on SmackDown. It's like, listen, this is a wrestling show. You showed up to my place of work, and I'm going to beat you up. What do you expect? He shows off his newly won Intercontinental Championship belt, knows the conspiracy, like he said on SmackDown, knows the conspiracy against him will never be over, but he does know he can overcome anything that is thrown his way, including Ricochet next week for the Intercontinental Championship. Rosenberg thinks that Sami's in the right in all of this. Matt Camp defends Knoxville. Rosenberg even says that he thought Knoxville's performance in the Rumble, albeit brief, was impressive. And Matt Camp reinforces that Ricochet poses a threat to Sami's Intercontinental Championship, which I don't think he does, but it should be a fun match nonetheless. Rosenberg likes this match for Ricochet, likes the match for Zayn, likes the match in general, and says that Sami can't rest until WrestleMania, whether it be Knoxville or Ricochet or anyone else. He's got a target on his back going into WrestleMania, so he's got to watch his back. He can't rest until WrestleMania weekend. So that was Talking Smack in a nutshell for February 26, 2022. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out my review of the show. Nothing really to watch here at all. The interviewers, or the interviews themselves, were shorter than usual for whatever reason. Like the Sonya one, completely pointless. The Viking Raiders one, completely pointless. The Sami one was entertaining. I will say that if you check out the Sami interview, and WWE usually posts the interviews from Talking Smack on their YouTube channel, so check that out. Beyond that, nothing really to see here. And they did do a good job of hyping up next week's show. I will say that. Not really the most must-see Talking Smack here. In reality, when is it ever really must-see? But they did do an effective job of hyping up next week's SmackDown that will see Sami and Ricochet collide for the Intercontinental Championship. The Usos defend the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the Viking Raiders. And Sonya Deville go one-on-one with Ronda Rousey. Thank you guys again, like I said earlier, for checking out the video. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. And hit the bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have an awesome rest of your week, folks. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.